Hey everyone, it's Blake. Welcome in to episode number 21 of our TCW Save and TEW 2020. This is Battleground, our March pay-per-view, our most stacked card yet in terms of pay-per-views. Malice in Wonderland was good, War to Settle the Score was good, but this should be our best pay-per-view yet, just based on the card that we've put together. A lot of big matches, as you guys know. So let's jump in, and here's how we start the pay-per-view. As it is the Elite, Eddie Chandler and Nate Johnson making their entrance. And then we see the entrance of T-Bone Bright, and Kyle Rhodes scurries over and catches T-Bone in the aisleway here before he gets to the ring. And Kyle Rhodes wants to know, who is T-Bone's partner going to be for this tag team grudge match that we've set up, which all came about after the Elite attacked T-Bone in the aisleway there several weeks ago, or a couple weeks ago, after the main event match. And so Kyle Rhodes wants to know, who's it going to be for T-Bone Bright? And T-Bone, very angry stare here for T-Bone. Usually a pretty lighthearted guy, but very angry stare as T-Bone does nothing but looks to the curtain. And here comes none other than T-Bone's partner, 70 for the rating. It is the returning Sammy Bach, who we know, folks, is still dealing with broken ribs. There's no way those ribs have healed in a span of several weeks. Remember, that's what we played up since the end of the main event at the War to Settle the Score, where Wolf legit injured Sammy Bach and broke his ribs, but he wound up healing. But we're just playing up the fact here that Sammy Bach was attacked even more, which I kind of left it out purposely a second ago, when it was Eddie Chandler and Nate Johnson who attacked T-Bone and Sammy Bach, we remember, and of course Chord continued to get in on the act there, attacking Sammy Bach after. So really playing up that Sammy's coming back here to team with T-Bone in this big match, but he's not 100%. But he doesn't care because they start brawling right around the ring. The match hasn't even started yet. These two are angry. They want their payback, and they start to brawl with these two guys around the ring here as we lead into our tag team match 74 here for this segment. And in our tag team match, the winners are T-Bone and Sammy Bach. They do get their revenge in terms of getting a win here. A nice back and forth match, kind of what we're playing up. But it's T-Bone kind of saving Sammy here. That's kind of playing it up. The hot tag to T-Bone is what this is all about, because again, Sammy Bach is not 100%. It's very clear by his in-ring work. The Elite really take it to him, trying to, go after the ribs. But it's T-Bone to save the day yet again as he pins Nate Johnson as they get the upper hand with the power slam. 70 for the match. I can't say that I really had that high of expectations for this match, so a 70's fine. I'm fine with that. So it's one of those matches, again, that's kind of just playing off the storyline. But if we look at what we got out of this, inconsistency, declining physical ability. You guys know the story by now. This is just the way it works. So, and I'm not really sure. I was about to say, I'm not sure why Sammy Bach has low morale, but we know exactly why. It's all based on the fact that, it's based off of the Wolf injury. So Wolf injuring him at the War to Settle the Score. That's why Sammy has low morale. So, nonetheless, T-Bone and Sammy Bach get the win here, so at least for the time being, some revenge for the babyfaces after the Elite jumped these two, again, several weeks ago. So that's how we start off the pay-per-view. Then we go to Ed Stone getting a win here at Battleground as he gets the victory over Maverick. 7:34, party's over is how he does it. 65, nothing more than a showcase match here for Ed Stone. As we said, some of these will be Clash of the Champions type, where you just kind of want to put someone over. And so, inconsistency, low morale. But for Maverick's just, I think, pissed off because he loses all the time. And he also just is not really used on pay-per-views. I think this may be the first pay-per-view we used him on. Not sure. Can't remember. That tells you where our booking's at with Maverick right now. But Ed Stone getting the win. Bigger things in the works for Ed Stone. Like I said, it's hard to have a storyline for everyone. I don't always love doing that. I like pushing kind of what the characters are, but don't always think everyone has to have a storyline going at the same time. So it's just still wrestling, and Ed Stone wrestles his way to a victory here. But as you'll see, we've got some plans for Mr. Ed Stone that will start to play out here very soon. So 65 for this one. All right, then that's going to lead us into a backstage segment here as 69 for this one. Nice rating. Sean Dokes performs poorly. The first time, as you can see, we've used Sean Dokes, but that's the reason why we're using it. is because it is the first time we've used him. And so we're really playing up the fact here that not only is TCW, as we said, kind of throwing J Chord through the hoops here, as we've seen recently, but they've gone as far as to find someone else to interview J Chord in a very sort of rare backstage interview here. So not even near the ring, but we've got an interview with J Chord, and it's Sean Dokes who's doing the work here. And so Chord playing that up, saying that TCW is doing everything to stop his destiny. We know he's going to take on Angry Gilmore tonight, and Chord really playing up the fact that he's only had 5 days to prepare for this match, but that's exactly what the powers that be at TCW want. They don't want me running through everybody here because they know that I'm good enough to do it. They know that if I become the world champion, that's bad for everyone because no one will beat me once I do fulfill my destiny and become the world champion. And again, he's kind of playing up that they even went as far as to get Sean Dokes back here because they know that if Kyle Rhodes gets near me, they don't know what I could do because I'm J Chord and I'm here to fulfill my destiny. And so J Chord really playing this up, again, sort of the conspiracy a little bit here with TCW. But as he finishes the interview here, Greg Gage walks by for the match, and we just see these two kind of turn to each other, shake each other's hand as Greg Gage is making his way to the ring for his television championship defense against Bart Biggins. So 69 for this one. I'm not really concerned about the rating. Again, Sean Dokes kind of put into this role for the first time, but continuing the thread here with J Chord and what's going to happen next as he gets ready for his match with Angry Gilmore here in just a bit. But as we said, Greg Gage, will he get successful title defense number 13? Of course he does, because Bart Biggins could not win the television title here. 73, so pretty good match for these two. Pretty much what we expected. I mean, I thought these two would deliver with Gage as good as he is in the ring. We kind of knew that. Bart Biggins' inconsistency. No surprise there. Look at all the bonuses for Greg Gage. Just a tremendous talent here. No bonuses for Bart Biggins, just for the record. But, yes, Greg Gage gets the win here. We are kind of playing up that this was one of those scenarios where, Bart Biggins almost got him a couple times, but it's really just pushing that Greg Gage is simply just better. Like, he's just, at every turn, Greg Gage kind of had a counter and was just able to, even with, the Bart Biggins with an edge, he kind of turned up the aggression here. All heart, but it wasn't enough to beat Greg Gage as he locks on that proton lock, which we're really sort of pushing here. Think about the people that he's now made submit. He's made Bart Biggins submit. He's made Dazzling Dave Diamond submit, the barroom brawler. So we're really pushing that here with Greg Gage and his submission work here and getting the win with that proton lock. So number 13, successful title defense for Greg Gage. And what comes next for him? We will find out. 73. Here for this one. All right, now we're going to get into the match, and this is kind of you guys know I kind of like to push the story a little bit. We're really going to push the story here with this one as we have an angle, which again is part of the match, as we like to do. 70 for it, as it is the match between Doc Hammond and One Man Army. So really the match, this entire Battleground, like I said, I made this logo here. I was like, if there's one match that defines it, it's this right here. I mean, this logo and this match. Doc Hammond, One Man Army. So we continue to play up the fact that these two, as soon as the bell rings, they just go at each other. Like, that's all this has been. You guys remember, back at the War to Settle the Score, these two just brawling with each other the entire match. And they just cannot get enough of just beating the hell out of each other. And they just keep doing it here. And they just continue to go at each other. And this is kind of a furious match where we did set this as Wild Brawl, I'm pretty sure, as the match aim. And we'll get to the match rating here in a second. But so we're really playing that up. It's nothing but just these two guys brawling back and forth, back and forth. But then Doc Hammond starts to get the upper hand. And we can see the tide start to turn here with Doc Hammond. And he's just taking it to One Man Army to the point that we hear Kyle Rhodes say, boy, One Man Army, he's struggling to defend himself here. Like, Doc Hammond is just going at him, and he's really struggling to defend himself with Rhodes and company kind of questioning, what needs to happen here? Does the referee need to sort of call this one off? But Hammond just keeps taking it to him, and he thinks he's done with One Man Army. Like, he's taking it to him. He's out of this thing. And so Doc Hammond kind of walks over, and we see Army just laying there. Like, he's just, surely this guy's done for. But he just gets up. And so Doc Hammond goes over, gives him a couple more blows. Army's down again. We think this is it. But Army just gets back up again. And he just keeps getting back up to the point that finally Doc Hammond just kind of looks at him and goes, don't do this. Like, he's just saying, like, don't do this. You know what I have to do. And so Doc Hammond finally is watching One Man Army just really struggle here. And you can see maybe Doc Hammond a little torn here because he's saying, you know what I've got to do. Don't do this. And then Doc Hammond goes over and just delivers the final blow here and just, pops. One Man Army sends him down, 70 for the rating here. And that gets to the match, which, again, I think is fine with a 70 for this one. I know it says submission, but we're going to scrap that. We're going to push. This is just, sort of a pinfall win here for Doc Hammond as he gets the victory in 10-24. Pretty good performances of both these guys. A little surprised maybe that Army was a little bit better than Doc, but that's okay. We see the great chemistry note here. No surprise, right? The old friend storyline, these two former tag team partners, and we know what the bonuses, the penalties are going to be. The usual, declining physical ability for both of these guys. So, Hammond gets the win, but like we said, it's really just pushing the story that One Man Army just would not give up here, and Doc Hammond finally just had to say, all right, I'm just going to have to do this, even though he told him, he's like, don't make me do this. And so, Doc Hammond delivers the final blow. And that's it for One Man Army as we push this here again, sort of just a submission. But again, we're kind of scrapping that to be just a pinfall victory. So that's my fault. I always forget to do the pinfall and submission finishes. So luckily they help me out sometimes with the finishing moves, but this one I just forgot to do with that. So Doc Hammond victorious here in a just tremendous brawl from these two guys and former tag team partners. And in what is easily the most surprising match rating, I think, of this group so far, at least, 73 for this match. I'm not going to lie, guys. I'm a little surprised by that. This is way higher than I thought it would be. But it is the duo of Troy Tornado and Ernest Youngman getting the win over Benny and the Fox, Benny Benson and Flying Jimmy Fox, 7:35, after Ernest Youngman does get the pin on Flying Jimmy Fox via the hit. Now, as you remember, the previous pay-per-view, it was Fox winning essentially by intentional disqualification, as, I don't know if disqualification is the right word, but referee stopped it after Ernest Youngman just kept going at Flying Jimmy Fox. And so, but Youngman actually gets the pin here in the match, and he carries the match in terms of in-ring performance. Remember, this guy way lower popularity-wise than any of these three guys, like still not even in the same stratosphere as most of these guys here. Or pretty much all of these guys. But he carries the match with a 71 on the in-ring performance. So if you're wondering why we're pushing this guy, 71 for the in-ring performance, getting better at his gimmick, 73 match. I really am. We didn't do anything regular. Victor, Ernest Young was a victor, Flying Jimmy Fox to lose, call in the ring, open match. This totally exceeded expectations. Again, just probably because Youngman's just not that popular. But if you're looking at kind of what we got penalized for, inconsistency, Troy Tornado has low morale, I think because he hasn't been used on the pay-per-views up to this point. But we are kind of pushing that, once again, remember in tag team action the past couple times, it's been Ernest Youngman doing all the work. But we're pushing here that he finally tags in Troy Tornado and, kind of playing up that Tornado actually gets some work in here. But Tornado also almost loses the match, which is where Youngman eventually gets in. We get Tornado and Benson fighting off. And that is where Youngman does the hit on Flying Jimmy Fox. 73 here for this one. Now, I will tell you, I did get the note as I was booking this match that, and I can't remember exactly what it says, but something like the game popped up with the intimidation thing or something like that. So, Flying Jimmy Fox was initially upset at being booked to lose in this match, or he was extremely unhappy, I think is what the wording was, at being booked to lose in this match, but he saw Troy Tornado kind of, what do you do? Kind of doing the knuckles thing. And so kind of grinding his knuckles a bit or whatever it is. And he backed off. That's the note I got as I was booking this match. First time I've seen that in this save, or really any save I think I've played in the game so far. I know it happens, but it's the first time I've seen it. So, yeah, essentially Troy Tornado uses a little intimidation tactic here to tell Flying Jimmy Fox, me and Ernest Youngman are going to win this match. It's booked that way, and you're going to like it. So I don't know if we get any heat coming out of that. Because I haven't really seen the fallout of something like this, but we'll find out on this. But bigger story, as we said, Tornado and Youngman get the win here. Troy Tornado actually gets to get in the ring But Ernest Youngman gets his first pinfall victory on a pay-per-view here for TCW 73 for this one. All right, now we get to our match, and it's the one you've all been waiting for. Hopefully you've been waiting for the main event too, because that's still to come. But Jay Chord, Angry Gilmore. And so you're going to go ahead and you can already see the spoiler here, so I'm just going to jump into it. 85 for this segment. We said we're kind of building up Jay Chord versus the world. And so the match here is really just, again, this is sort of a spectacle, right? You've got Jay Chord against this newest signing we just made from the SWF, a huge talent in Angry Gilmore. And so these two kind of filling each other out early, but they really, start to crank things up a bit. And as you'll see, that's kind of how we're playing out the match. Two just tremendous wrestlers here, trying to counter each other and get the victory. So eventually, though, it's Jay Chord gaining the upper hand on Angry Gilmore as we go down the stretch here. And Chord, just kind of, again, sort of pushing it. We can hear him verbally saying he will not be denied his destiny. Like, it's not going to happen. He's not going to let it. And so he's just taking it to Angry Gilmore here. But then we see the person who returned earlier, Sammy Bach. He starts to slowly make his way into the aisleway. The crowd's buzzing. So Jay Chord hears this. He sees the crowd reaction. They've all turned to the aisleway to see Sammy Bach, who is standing there in the aisle. And so Jay Chord, his anger's turning up at this. We know why Sammy Bach's out here, because remember, after the attack from the Elite several weeks ago, it was Jay Chord who came out to sort of try to finish the job after he was frustrated and sort of being denied all this, and that led to the stare down with Ann Andrews and all that. So Sammy Bach comes out and, not really approaching anything. He just stands in the aisle. And you can just kind of see him stoically just standing there and not doing anything. He's just standing in the aisle. But this is enough for Jay Chord to momentarily find himself distracted. And it is the veteran, Angry Gilmore, the former SWF World Heavyweight Champion, 85 for the segment, who delivers the anger management after, again, perhaps intentional, not intentional. Maybe Sammy Bach just came out there because he couldn't help himself. But it is Angry Gilmore who gets the win over Jay Chord in 20 minutes and 4 seconds here with the pinfall, with the anger management. 85 for the match. So you guys, we all tried to play the guessing game, how good the matches were going to be, who was going to be the best match. I said I thought it would be this one. I think as of this 85, I think it's a good chance it's going to be this one with the best match rating on the card, although we've got two contenders still left. If you think about what's left on this card, we've got our main event and we've got Wolf versus Darryl Devine. But Jay Chord with a 90 in-ring performance here. Look, we would have loved to have a 90 match or something like that. But as you're going to see, and as I said, I paid a lot of money for Angry Gilmore, knowing that this is a guy who, like everyone else on our roster, has some declining physical ability. But he is just one that I wanted to have on this roster because, like I said, he will eventually be like a road agent type guy. When you look at kind of his attributes and all those things, he's got, like giving back and all those other things. So, that's kind of the role we can use him in. He's just kind of the perfect guy to have on our payroll somewhere, even if we're going to pay him a lot of money. But you can kind of see we did do kind of the slow build here, work its way to a big finish of what we tried to do. We did do kind of the distraction finish, of course, with Sammy Bach, so that takes a little bit away in terms of the, any negative popularity stuff with Jay Chord. But nonetheless, these two deliver a great match as we expected, 85. I'm sure if we ran this match again, we could get it a lot better because, again, maybe 20 minutes is a little too long for a guy with declining physical. We could have did this in 15. My guess is it goes higher on the match rating because Gilmore only had a 70. So he's not what he used to be. We understand that, but it still gets a great rating here on pay-per-view, and that's all we were looking for. But remember, though, the finish. Jay Chord just lost to Angry Gilmore. What is going to happen now? If you thought Jay Chord was frustrated before, he's now lost. He's been trying to stay out of the ring for a month now, right? He hasn't wrestled up until the match he had on Total Wrestling because contractually he had to do it. But now he is lost to the debuting Angry Gilmore. What is Jay Chord going to do next? We'll see. All right, speaking of good matches, we continue the rate. I mean, listen, we're on a roll here with these matches. These are all good matches. Like, these are, every match is delivered, I think, to be honest with you so far. As Joshua Taylor keeps the streak going here, 75 for this one, as Joshua Taylor gets the win over Human Arsenal. Hard to follow that last match, but these two guys come out and do it. The veteran here, John Anderson, Human Arsenal, and then Joshua Taylor, who keeps his streak going, 15:05 with a butterfly lock. So another submission finish here for this one. We know that's the finish for Joshua Taylor. 78-71 on the in-ring performances, still having the benefit from the hot new move. Not a lot with this one in terms of just kind of an open match, regular. We didn't do anything fancy with this one. 0 penalties. So this did about as good as it could do. When you just look at what all these guys, again, these are two very skilled workers. So I was very intrigued to put these guys together to see what we could get out of it. And again, another match that hits 70 or higher. We'll take it here on pay-per-view. So 75 for this one. And it is worth mentioning that at the end of this match, we hear Kyle Rhodes on commentary. And I just didn't have room to put this as an angle because this was a very tightly booked show with all the stuff that we have still to come on this show. But Kyle Rhodes mentions that we will, TCW officials have sort of informed him that there will be an announcement involving Joshua Taylor coming up on Tuesday's edition of Total Wrestling. So, what is this announcement going to be? Taylor has won yet another match. He's not lost a match since December when he lost in the main event at Psycho Circus. Had a chance to challenge for the world title. Couldn't win it from Aaron Andrews. He's won every match since. And so we're about to enter month number 4 since that. What is this announcement we're going to have involving Joshua Taylor? We'll find out on Total Wrestling. But that is kind of the wrinkle added after the end of this match. Really good stuff here from these two. All right, now we get to another one, 70. I'll take it. Be honest with you. If there was a match I thought I could get the lowest rating, it was either the tag team match with Benny and the Fox and Tornado and Youngman, or it was going to be Peak and Tana. But nonetheless, they still deliver here. And so they deliver a 70 match. But there is a significant storyline development here as Eddie Peak gets the win over Tana in 6:54. There's no way we were going long with this match with these two guys. With the Peak of Perfection, it's a great finisher name, following interference from Doug Peak. Now, you're asking yourself, is Doug Peak on the roster? He wasn't up until recently. But Doug Peak is Eddie Peak's brother. And we get the gimmick here. He is an old school heel, is what we're pushing him. And by the way, pretty good chemistry between these two. I would not have guessed that necessarily. So I hope the main event, no one breaks any bones or anything, because this pay-per-view has been definitely exceeding expectations so far. So Doug Peak, come on, if I hit this guy's name, you know exactly whose brother he is. Doug Peak here is the old school heel joining the roster. Great in terms of this gimmick he has, but out of nowhere, it is Doug Peak who kind of gets involved. Mighty Mo, we know is the tag team partner of Tana. We'll get to him here in a second, but it's Doug Peak making his TCW debut here as he helps out his brother to get a win. So again, just kind of pushing the action breaks down here between these two. We did do storytelling, so keep that in mind. We did storytelling. This match could have been better if these guys didn't hold back. And in terms of the declining physical ability, look, Eddie Peak's physical ability not declining yet. He's one of the few, and so first time we've had him wrestle. Remember, it's the first match he's had in our series, and so we did cap it due to the short match length. So we could have regular match. This thing goes 8-10 minutes. This thing could have did much better, which, again, impressive work here from Eddie Peak and Tana. So we'll take it. 63 in-ring performances for both. But as we said, the bigger storyline is that Doug Peak is now here to join his brother Eddie, and in a 69 here for this one. Nice rating. After the match, what happens? We have the Center Society, who seemingly has a new member in Doug Peak, as they attack Mo and Tana. So we've got Killer Shark and Titan, who we know have kind of been retooling. That's something Eddie Peak has talked about, him leading by example. So these two have kind of been out of the way since losing that rematch for the tag team titles. Nick Boots out here, kind of the always the whatever, third wheel, fourth wheel, the fifth wheel, I guess you could say, with this group. But we have these five sort of standing tall here over Mighty Mo and Tana afterwards, and we see Eddie Peak grab one of the tag team championships, and he hands the other tag team championship to his brother Doug. Now, again, these two former tag team champions lost the tag team rematch. Eddie Peak has said he's going to lead by example. What is this going to lead to? I think you guys have a pretty good idea as we see this group standing tall over the tag team champions here. It's worth noting, could not add anyone else to this, but eventually, how do we get the heels out of there where they can't just stand there, and the babyface got to have a little support, right? You got to get the babyface locker room out there. So we do have guys kind of running out there to try to make the save a little bit. So we get, a dazzling Dave Diamond appearance. We get an Ed Stone, guys like that. And so they come out to kind of run off the heels here. And so that's worth noting too. We just couldn't add it all into this. So 69 for this one. But what will happen next? Our tag team champions who've been laid out by the Center Society, who have seemingly added a new member, and Eddie Peake's brother, Doug. All right. Now, oh no. Okay, so the first match that really did not deliver the number that I wanted. It still gets a 78, but we should have known things were going too well. And it's pretty bad when we, you know how good Wolf Hawkins is if we're knocking a 78 rated match. But I wanted this to be much better. I thought with Wolf, we could get Darryl Devine up to an 80-something type match here. Maybe 85. Maybe could have matched J. Chord and Angry Gilmore. But it didn't happen. Look, we take what we can get. It's been a good show so far. And so we had to have one maybe somewhere. But really, no notes here. Wolf was a 93 for an in-ring performance. So we kind of met in the middle, right? 93, 63, 78 here on that. We did keep Darryl Devine strong. The story we're pushing here is sort of, Wolf. Remember, Chance Fortune. Wolf just kind of destroyed Darryl Devine's partner, Chance Fortune. And we're kind of just pushing here that Darryl Devine, the underdog, right? So we're really just like Darryl Devine getting multiple, 2.5s here on Wolf and just almost pinning him multiple times. So really putting the pressure on Wolf to take it up a notch. And we kind of see that here from Wolf. We see him kind of hit that next gear, which only Wolf Hawkins can hit. And we see him, again, take it up a notch. That leads to the Full Moon Rising for the win. But it is kind of pushed by commentary that Darryl Devine almost had Wolf multiple times. He almost had him, and we saw Wolf take it to a different level here as he gets the win in this match against Darryl Devine. And again, no kind of penalties here from that. All the bonuses from Wolf. And that's the usual, right? But I wanted this to go over 80. I know it's only a couple points. Even if it got an 80, I may have felt okay. But 78, it's a little disappointing, I think, for what I was looking for. But nonetheless, Wolf gets the win here in this match over Darryl Devine, who came very close to pulling the upset, but the ultimate underdog not able to do it here against Wolf Hawkins. All right, that is going to lead us into our main event. Aaron Andrews defends the TCW World Heavyweight Championship against Freddy Huggins, one-on-one, and we're going to get to a little angle action, as this is kind of another one where we're kind of playing into the match based on the angle here. So an 86, best thing on the show so far. Matt Hawking underperforming, nothing new. So the story here is that Huggins and Hawking are coming out, and they've got this bag. You guys know we've been talking about the bag. Freddy has wanted Aaron Andrews to hand over the championship and put it in this bag, this empty bag, right? And so they're walking out with the bag, and we should have known that was going to play into the match, right? As this match is really all about Aaron Andrews kind of, again, showcasing his skill, sort of like we just saw Wolf do a little bit here, really just pushing the unbelievable kind of skills of Aaron Andrews as this match goes along. But we get to where Freddy realizes it's time for some shenanigans. And so Freddy's trying to kind of, cheat at every turn because he said, he has to win this championship. He wants to win this thing. Aaron Andrews says he's got to beat him if he wants to do it. He's not just going to hand over the title. But eventually we get a situation where Andrews is kind of, out on the other side. Freddy is going over and he's calling for Matt Hawking here. And he's calling for the bag. Well, again, there's nothing in this bag, right? Because Freddy's been saying he's going to put the belt into this bag. But we should have known something's in the bag. And what is in the bag? As Matt Hawking goes over to distract the referee, what is in the bag as Freddy Huggins pulls it out, and it is the same pair of brass knuckles, seemingly, that Freddy Huggins used during the War to Settle the Score main event. If you remember, we had Freddy get involved in that match, brought the brass knucks out, clocked Aaron Andrews with it, where Andrews' face is right there by the cage, clocked him with it, and that kind of took Aaron Andrews out of things. The brass knucks are inside the bag. So kind of playing up this was all about Freddy getting the championship. Well, it turns out he had kind of a backup plan with the knuckles in there. And so Freddy goes over to hit Aaron Andrews with the brass knucks. Is this going to be it? Is Freddy Huggins going to win the TCW World Heavyweight Championship via shenanigans? You guys know the answer to that. Freddy goes over to deliver the shot with the brass knuckles. This could be it. But Aaron Andrews, the valiant babyface that he is, turns the tide here, gets the knuckles out of the equation, and Aaron Andrews hits it. Okay, all right. So Freddy, can we all just right now, can we stand up and clap for Freddy Huggins? I mean, come on. Like 87 for our main event here. Now look, a lot of this is going to go to Aaron Andrews, but if you look at it, Freddy with a 77 for his in-ring performance. This guy does not get enough credit. We're giving him all the credit we can. If you're playing as TCW, make sure to push Freddy Huggins because this guy just delivered a tremendous main event with an 87 here, and it is Aaron Andrews defeating Freddy Huggins in 15-13 by pinfall. The flying body press gets it done following the botched interference from Matt Hawkins. So we kind of played it up as botched interference, but kind of Freddy's own fault there trying to use that. But that is successful now. Defense number 5 for Aaron Andrews for the TCW World Heavyweight Championship. And so, Aaron Andrews gets the win. Freddy's regrouping on the outside. Him and Matt Hawkins are kind of heading off. Hawkins helping, Huggins off here after the match. Aaron Andrews in the middle of the ring celebrating his 5th successful defense as the TCW World Heavyweight Championship after a great match. 87, just completely delivered here. We didn't really do a whole lot. We kind of kept this pretty simple. We look at all this here. Aaron Andrews penalized for inconsistency. That was it. Everything else, bonuses across the board for these two. We're not finished, though. As Aaron Andrews is celebrating the championship defense, 99. We almost got 100 for this one. What happens as Aaron Andrews is standing in the ring holding up the championship? Here comes Wolf Hawkins. As Wolf starts to slowly make his way towards the ring, the very methodical style that we're used to here from the Alpha Wolf. And he starts to slowly make his way to the ring. And Aaron Andrews is there, and we can see Aaron Andrews saying, "You want to do this now? Let's go." Like, he's ready to go even after this championship. We see Aaron Andrews sit the belt down beside him. He's ready to fight Wolf. So we're going to get this hot fight between these two to finish off this pay-per-view. We'll see about that. 99 for this segment, because as Wolf starts to make his way down, before he can get to the ring, someone else makes their way down as out of nowhere, didn't come from the back, anything like that, out of nowhere comes Chord, who jumps Aaron Andrews from behind. Crowd's buzzing here. 84 for the segment, so didn't do as great, but, Chord was a real star. Of course he is. Of course he's a real star. Just good stuff here. These guys are great. As Chord jumps Aaron Andrews from behind, we get, kind of the same setup. Remember, Chord has jumped other people, as we know. So he jumps Aaron Andrews from behind. Wolf is just kind of standing there like this. Wolf looks confused because Kyle Rhodes is wondering on commentary, does this mean that, Wolf, Hawkins, and Chord, could Chord be the newest member of the syndicate? All of these questions are being asked, right? But Wolf is not, he's confused. He's trying to figure out what Chord's doing here. You can see it on his face. But Wolf's just kind of standing there, watching as this is happening, as Chord is taking it to Aaron Andrews, who, just had a pretty lengthy match with Freddy Huggins. So Chord taking it to him, but that prompts someone else to make their way out, and we finish the show 89 for this segment, as out from behind the curtain, we see a burst of speed here from Sammy Bach, as he comes out, and Wolf Hawkins realizes that Bach is now coming behind him. Sammy Bach just starts exchanging punches with Wolf Hawkins. So he's going at it with Wolf. He eventually takes Wolf down. And then he rolls in to make the save for Chord, who kind of rolls out of the ring. And it is Sammy Bach coming to the aid to make the save here for Aaron Andrews. As Chord goes to slip away, we see Sammy Bach for a second consider, should he chase after Chord? But then he looks back at Wolf and realizes he can't leave Aaron Andrews here alone. And that's how we go off the air with Wolf kind of Sammy Bach standing over Aaron Andrews here as he looks to each side, as we see Chord on one side retreating, we see Wolf on the other side starting to retreat, and that is how we go off the air for TCW Battleground. Looks like Wolf invents a new catchphrase here that will boost his ability on the microphone. All right, well, I don't know what he said after getting his ass beat here, but he said something that is pretty good in terms of his go-to line. And so that is how we finish a show that was jam-packed, as you guys saw, with a lot of big storyline development here. But that is how we finish up Battleground, which definitely delivered. 88, our best show, I think, to date so far. I could be wrong about that, but really, I mean, look, this is one of the few, I mean, this is the only show we've had pretty much at this point with this many 70 or above, either angles or match ratings. As we said, we thought that it was going to be Jay Chord and Angry Gilmore delivering the best match, but it was not. It was Aaron Andrews and Freddy Huggins. So even though Wolf and Darryl Devine disappointed a little bit, we'll take it with our main event being the best one, because props to Aaron Andrews and Freddy Huggins. So I'm going to give some speeches here, and let me just tell you, Freddy Huggins is going to be praised for a great performance after what he did. But really, we could praise a lot of guys on this show. Look, this match was the most surprising. The 73 for this tag team match, I did not think that was ever going to happen. So, yeah, that was tremendous stuff. So that was Battleground. A lot of stuff for you guys to chew on, storyline-wise, heading out of it. I'm going to give some speeches here, and then we'll see when we get to before we wrap up. All right, so that was Battleground, and I know you just saw what was on the screen, but excellent. We struck gold with that show, but you should have known it was going to happen. We kind of teased it. We're like, look, this is going to happen as soon as we have another big show do well. But we did grow too big. And so that is officially happening. And Wolf is the new catchphrase. We're going to get to all the growth of TCW in the State of episode, which we do at the end of every, or at the start of every new month. So that will be the next episode of the series, as you guys know. So we'll look more at the growth of our company. With that, we'll look at all this stuff here to get a really good idea. But you'll see in the mail, of course, we have entered the 1 month warming up period after achieving the big size. And again, we do rise to big here. TCW Battleground number 3, I guess it's the third in the series. 664,415 viewers. That's a lot of people watching this pay-per-view. 1.32 on the buy rate, which is, equals out to that. I did want to let you guys know Mark Speed's contract is ending. We're renewing Mark Speed's contract after suffering the broken neck. This guy's going to be out until at least the next Total Mayhem. But yeah, we're renewing his contract. Come on, we're not going to cut Mark Speed after suffering a broken neck. So not all that he's doing for our company. So there you go. That was Battleground. Let me know what you guys think about all the action on this pay-per-view. Easily our best show yet in the series, and a lot of fun stuff coming out of it. So be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and check out all the other saves on the channel, WWE, AEW, and exploring the C-Verse. And like I said, got some new saves coming. I'm going to do part 3 of the How I Book series. The first 2 parts did pretty well. You guys enjoyed those. So just some insight into kind of my thinking when it comes to booking and TEW and all those other things. So it can be some fun stuff if you're looking for just different, tips and stuff that may spark some ideas and those kind of things. So always a fun thing to do there. But again, I appreciate you guys. Great feedback. It's hard to believe we are on to April now in this TCW series, but we're here. And we will talk all about that, because on the next episode of our TCW Save, it will be the State of TCW for April 2020.